Perfect.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 12 of the Bright Lights podcast. I'm your host, Deegs, joined as always by my two co-hosts, Mahoney.
What up, bitches?
PT.
How's everyone doing?
How we doing today, guys? How you guys been? It's been a while.
Fantastic, dude. Feeling great. Ready for the weekend. Ready to watch the Pro Bowl.
Let's go.
I'm excited, dude.
8 Bears in the Pro Bowl. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah, we'll get to the Pro Bowl eventually, but we got a little jam-packed show today. Got a lot of football, some recaps, some pretty crazy football last weekend. Then we got a lot of baseball to talk about. So like always, I don't want to waste your time or ours. Mahoney, go ahead and jump into some football talk. Let us know how the picks are doing and everything else, buddy.
So the picks. It was kind of a interesting weekend for all of us, I would say. So Deegs, you chose the Rams and the Chiefs. Obviously, you got the Rams correct. So your record is 73-47. PT went 0-2 picking the Saints and the Chiefs.
I got screwed.
So he's 63-59. And Mahoney going 2 for 2 with the Rams and the Patriots. Tied with the first place Deegs. Oh, what a comeback.
This fucker's about to beat me after being in last place all year.
Yeah, dude, feeling pretty good.
I'm glad to see that our football analyst is doing really good on this.
Dude, I had the call. I had the Saints right.
They lost.
You did. They lost.
How?
All right. So we're getting into it. We're getting into it.
All right.
Who won the game? Who's playing this next weekend?
The Saints won.
But they didn't win though.
All right. Great jam-packed full weekend last weekend with our NFL games. We'll start off with the really controversial game of the Rams versus the Saints. It was a great game. It really was. The Rams started kind of slow. You could tell the noise really was affecting them, and it was loud in there.
Yeah, they were so red.
Oh, yeah, it was so loud. Did you see a video? I saw a video on Twitter of the stadium shaking, and the concrete was falling in the basement.
And there was a water cup, and the water was shaking.
I don't think it was water, but I think it was an alcoholic beverage.
A drink of choice for someone, might say.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the football. Like we said, that stadium was unbelievable. That's why they said that the Saints was going to be so hard to go through and play there. But the Rams figured it out. They kind of settled down, got into a rhythm. It came down to a play, 4th down, right? Was it 4th down, I believe? Was it 4th down?
No, it was 3rd down.
It was 3rd down.
Yeah.
3rd down. And there was a blatant missed call.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm telling you that the game would have been over. If the call was made, they could have kneeled the ball down to 4 seconds left. There would have been no way the Saints came back. That's why I think that the Saints yes, the Rams won, okay? But in reality, the Saints should have won.
Yeah, the Saints definitely should have won, but then again, at the end of the day, they didn't. And I think the Saints fans, I love the Saints, but I think their fans are really taking this a little too much.
Yeah. I think it's because
you go ahead.
They're probably taking it too far, or like as far, or however you want to phrase it. Because one, I mean, look at what the Saints have gone through the last 2 years. Last year, you had the missed tackle, the Minneapolis Miracle. With their play away from going to the Super Bowl. That should have never happened, and we could have had a Saints Super Bowl potentially had they beaten the Eagles. And then this year, with a 40-year-old quarterback who is probably, if you want to talk about the echelon of quarterbacks, probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
A year left or two, and this was their year to win the whole thing.
Yep.
And that happens. That's why they're so upset. As far as the call goes, I mean, I understand. Yes, that was a shitty call. It was a terrible call. It was blatantly pass interference. If we talked about how shitty the NFL refs are or have been this year, we could probably have like a 7-hour podcast because they've been awful. But you have to look at it from a different perspective. The game went into overtime, and the Saints did have a chance to win. They got the ball first. Drew Brees threw that pick, and their defense played like shit. I mean, they were dominating the Rams for the first half of the game, basically. And in the second half, their defense played like shit. They played like they did against the Eagles in the first quarter. I've always been a component of saying that I know like one play can lose you a game, but it's not the reason why you lose a game. You know what I mean? Like Cody Parkey missing that field goal for the Bears is not the reason why they lost. They got carved up by Nick fucking Foles. They dropped a ton of interceptions.
We did not get carved by Nick Foles, but defense, we didn't lose the game because of Parkey. You're right on that.
Their defense couldn't tackle for shit. Tariq Cohen got 4 touches. Like, there's a lot of reasons why they lost the game. It's the same thing with the Saints. But yeah, that was a terrible call. That was an awful call.
Yeah, definitely.
Right up there with like one of the worst calls in NFL history. There was another terrible call in the Chiefs-Patriots game that we'll get to that is the reason why New England's playing in the Super Bowl this weekend.
Yeah,
but
I know exactly what you're talking about too. But
yeah, man, what a good game though.
Yeah, it was a great game. But sticking with the pass interference, I just want to point out the fact that one call didn't decide the game because there was a ton of missed calls throughout the whole game.
There's a ton of missed calls that would have gone against the Saints. You have the face mask on Jared Goff when he got tackled. They would have put the ball at the 1-yard line with 4 chances to score. Yeah. They probably score there. And then that puts it, I think, out of field goal range, and that would have been a 4-point game, so the Saints would have had to go for it. There's a lot of missed calls in that game that went both ways. I'm not saying that only the calls went against the Saints, but yeah, I mean, the officiating is awful. It's at its all-time worst, in my opinion. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, definitely.
No, yeah, I agree. There's just some.
Now, real quick, I do want just a testament because we didn't watch us three. We didn't watch the Steelers Saints game together. But how the fuck do you call that pass interference on Joe Hayden? Do you know what I'm talking about? When he puts his hand on Alvin Kamara's back in the end zone, and that's why that's scored. How do you call that pass interference? And then Traquan Smith or whoever the fuck it was gets
Traquan, baby,
gets absolutely murdered, and you don't call that pass interference. Like, that is just an epitome of how shitty the refs have been this year. It's so fucking terrible. Yeah. I can't wait to see them fuck up in the Super Bowl too.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's go on to the next game, PT.
So we got another amazing game and another controversy that's kind of been discussed through the past week. The Chiefs kind of started out slow again, and Patrick Mahomes pulled his dick out and slapped it on the ground.
He's so good.
He's so good.
He's so good.
It was a great game, but like we said, there was a controversy, and it was the fact that Patrick Mahomes did not even get a chance in overtime. I just want to hear from you guys, and then I'll give you my intake. What do you guys think about the possibility of the overtime rule being changed in the playoffs?
Okay, so I'll lead it off. I think that it should be changed, but not only in the playoffs. I think it should be changed overall. I don't think it's fair because, again, it's Tom Brady, right? If you're going to give – I don't even know how to really explain this that well, but –
the
fact that you're giving the other team, Mahomes, no shot when Mahomes was the best quarterback this year.
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's okay. Obviously, it happened this year, right? But when the Patriots were down 28-3 and they came back and they forced overtime, they got the ball first. And Matt Ryan, who that year won the MVP and was playing on the highest powered offense in football, didn't get a chance to touch the ball too. Going back to the first year that these overtime rules were in place, the Pittsburgh Steelers played the Denver Broncos in Denver. And Tim Tebow led them to an overtime game.
I remember
and
that
on the
game,
second play of the game, which at that point Pittsburgh had the number one offense in football, they didn't even get to touch the ball. That's so stupid. Like the rules, this is how it should be, in my opinion. Right? You can go one of two ways. You can either do what college does, which is I
hate the way college
does. You start at like the 50-yard line or whatever, and you go until somebody can't score a touchdown anymore, or it's very simple. You just go back to the old rules of you play a full 10-minute quarter and see what fucking happens.
That's what I think should happen.
It's just the playoffs. You understand? I mean, of the three major sports, basketball, football, baseball. Football is the only sport that you can tie in. You can't tie in baseball. You're gonna keep playing. If you play 25 innings and you have to have a 13-year-old from the stands go pitch, you're gonna do it. If you play basketball, you keep playing until somebody wins. You don't just tie. Like, that's fucking stupid. We don't play to tie. You play to win.
Yeah.
And I understand you can't tie in the playoffs, so like they're going to keep playing. But it's the same thing in the regular season. You should not tie in the National Football League. You should keep playing until somebody fucking wins, because that is the objective of playing a football game. You play until somebody wins. I think it's really stupid that a guy who just threw 50 touchdowns and like for 5,200 passing yards as a second-year player doesn't even get a chance to touch the ball after he's the single reason why the team got back in the game. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, you can say what you want. The Chiefs played like shit in the first half. He went nuts in the second half.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely nuts. Making throws left and right. When he got the ball back, I had no doubt in my mind that he was about to drive them down the field and score. So, I mean, it's stupid. It's really stupid that that's the rule. A coin flip essentially decides if you go to the Super Bowl or not. Because if Tom Brady gets the ball, say what you want about Tom Brady, whatever you want to say about him, right? If he gets the ball in overtime, the game's over. It's over. It's the same thing if Aaron Rodgers gets the ball. It's the same thing if Peyton Manning gets the ball. It's the same thing. Not in this case, Drew Brees, but a few years ago, Drew Brees gets the ball in overtime. It's over.
Yeah.
You lost. You have no chance to win the game. So it's so dumb. It's so dumb that the NFL's next superstar and potential legendary quarterback didn't even get a chance to win that game for his team, which is so stupid.
Yeah. I want to hear PT. What do you think about this?
Here's my thing. Here's my point. I see why the NFL has this overtime rule. The NFL is going in a direction of making sure that all their players are safer, healthier, and ready for the postseason. I'm totally fine if the overtime stays the way it is in regular season for that issue because people are getting hurt more. People are but they're trying to protect them more. So the fact that they are trying to, quote unquote, end the games quicker makes sense to me. But when it comes to playoff time, we need to change the rules, but only during playoffs times because teams can lay it all on the line. They will in overtime in the playoffs. So I like the idea that we'll change it in the playoffs, but I don't think there's any need to change it in the regular season because I think that the regular season is long. I think it's really hard on all the bodies, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
right?
I agree too.
But think about the impact, right, that a tie can have on a team's record. I'll give you a perfect example.
Your team saw it this year.
Yeah, if the Steelers don't tie against the Browns, they're in the playoffs. The only reason why they didn't make the playoffs is because they tied. Minnesota, they tied too. If they win that game against Green Bay, now I'm not saying it's guaranteed that the Browns are going to that Pittsburgh would have won the game or that Minnesota would have won the game. But if they don't tie against Green Bay, they're in the playoffs too. Then the Eagles don't make the playoffs. So then the Bears are probably still playing. So think about like all the then the Bears have to then the Bears play the Rams. The Bears, they already dominated the Rams. So let's say the Bears win. Now you got a Bears Saints Super Bowl, and who knows what the fuck happens with that Bears defense? They have a chance to make the Super Bowl just because of a tie. Think about that. Think about what I just said.
No. And I totally.
And I'm not saying that because you're Bears fans. I'm just saying that if you look at every single major sport, there's no ties. You don't fucking tie. Like, that's stupid. You play to win.
I agree with you 100% that there's no one likes ties. But I'm just saying that I'm literally speaking through the NFL.
They're never going to change it.
It's not going to happen. Agree. And they, like I said, they're going for player safety. And I also don't think they want 5 quarters played for the 18 weeks. So, like I said, I think that there's a possibility that overtime might be changed. But there's no way that the regular season overtime gets changed.
All right, so I want to, just like how PT said about what we think about the overtime, I'll start this off, but I want to know what you guys think about that offsides being called. All right, I'll start. I'll start.
Go ahead.
All right, so I think in that situation, as a referee, you just have to swallow it and keep the flag in your pocket. I don't think it was the time to call that flag. It wasn't like he jumped. It wasn't like he did anything that could have affected the offensive line, and he didn't even cause the interception or anything. Yeah. He set up offsides. That is totally different than anything else.
Now, if you guys don't know what he's referring to, Dee Ford, defensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think it was like a third and long, and Tom Brady dropped back, threw it to Gronk. It was a really bad pass, but it tipped off Gronk's hands, and the Chiefs defender picked it off, and essentially the game would have been over. It would have been over. Kansas City would be going to the Super Bowl. Everybody in football land would be super happy right now. But the ref did call D Ford offsides. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not like he jumped and had an impact. It's not like he made contact with a defensive player that impacted the snap or it gave him an advantage to get to Brady. Because if you fully watch the play, he's got all the time in the world to throw that football. They did a great job blocking for him. Actually, the Chiefs didn't sack him all game. But I mentioned earlier a controversial call in this game. That's not what I was talking about, but that is another one. I'm talking about the roughing the passer call.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
On like a 3rd and 10 or whatever, that essentially probably also would have iced the game, and it is the reason why the Patriots didn't end up scoring a touchdown. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
I know.
I want to say it was Justin Houston that got called for it.
I think it was too.
He came around the edge, almost stripped the ball out of Brady's hands, and as he went down to hit like just a natural football motion, he literally just taps Brady on the shoulder, and they called it pass interference. Didn't knock him over, didn't pick him up and slam him, didn't tackle him by his knees, didn't do anything. All he did was run into the guy with his arms after doing a natural football motion. And honestly, I've seen a lot of shitty pass interference calls this year. Like you can reference the Clay Matthew calls at the beginning of the year. They were awful.
Like 3, yeah.
Watching a lot of Pittsburgh games, we had a lot of roughing the passer calls. Sorry, if I said pass interference, I meant roughing the passer. Roughing the passer calls against and for us, and that one was terrible. Like the guy literally just ran into him. It was a terrible call, and it affected the game. Once again, officials are terrible. But yeah, I mean. And both of those calls really screwed the Chiefs over.
Okay, well, I just want a quick question. Was he really offsides?
I don't think so.
We're looking at the photo right now. I think, again, it shouldn't have been called, but I think he's like a hand length too far.
Well, here's the thing. In my opinion, if he's offsides, the flag needs to be thrown. I'm sorry, but it's a rule. You can't just let something go because of a possible outcome. If it's a penalty, it needs to be called. Yes, I agree with the roughing the passer. That needs to be figured out. It doesn't make any sense to me. But a blatant this is not as blatant.
Hold on. I'm go ahead. Keep talking.
But an offsides call, I think, needs to be called.
So I'm watching it right now, right? And which one is? Oh wait, this is
on the
different.
end. It's D Ford. He's 54 on the end. If he's lined off sides, that is technically breaking a rule in the NFL, and a flag needs to be thrown. I have no problem with it being thrown just because of the aspect that it needs to be thrown, and that if he doesn't line off sides, then it goes a different way. So I'm glad they threw the flag because, yes, it's so hard to tell because one side gets blamed for something that isn't wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like, if something goes one way, it's blamed on the other person. So
you said 54, right?
It's whoever.
55,
56. I can't read this number, but it's 55.
And I'll say this too about that.
Dude, I'm looking at it right now, and from the angle that I'm looking at it, I don't think he's offsides.
Here's what I'm gonna say about it too.
I think his hand's on the line.
Yeah. The other thing is though. Is the fact that the flag wasn't thrown right away.
Because typically when someone's offsides, they blow the flag dead immediately.
No, I know. But the fact is...
so I'm agreeing with you.
No, I know. But the fact is, though, that when you were listening to the game, you heard the announcers go crazy because the pass was picked, and then, like, literally 30 seconds later, they go, oh, wait, all of a sudden there's a flag. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened, and I don't know if anybody does, but that offsides flags, I read up on it. When a player's offsides, the flag is supposed to be thrown right after the ball is snapped.
Because it typically, if someone's offsides, right, the reason why we have an offsides rule is because it gives the defense an advantage because you have an extra step to getting to a quarterback, right? So when somebody's offsides, they usually throw it right away and they blow the play dead because that could be like it could cause harm to a quarterback. If someone's offsides and I have an extra step on someone, that could be the difference between me getting stopped in a gap on a blitz or me literally having a free space and going head on and murdering a quarterback while they're still dropping by.
Yeah.
And the league believe it or not, say what you want, they want to protect their quarterbacks because quarterbacks make the most money. They bring the most money. They're the most important player on a team. So if there's an offsides penalty, right, unless it's like when Aaron Rodgers does that thing where he like says hut hut and they jump and then they get a free play. Even then, now they've been blowing that dead like crazy. You don't see a lot of free plays in the NFL anymore. So I don't know. Typically you see that flag thrown all the time. This was a really late flag for an offsides. I thought it was going to be like defensive holding or pass interference when I saw it, and then I saw offsides. Like the fuck's that about? But I just saw it right now, and from the angle I saw it, I don't think he's offsides. I think his hand's on the line, but I don't. It's over. Nothing we say is going to change it. Nothing we think is going to change it. New England won the game. That offsides call, like I said, is not the reason why the Chiefs lost. Their defense played like shit, but nothing we can do about it anymore. Might as well just move on.
Yeah, so I know PT wants to talk about it, so I'll hand it over to him. What do you want to say about the Pro Bowl, buddy?
You know, I'm a big fan just because it kind of does let the players. Deeks thinks this whole thing is overblown and out of proportion, and I think he's being a little too ridiculous. Just because
a little bit of an asshole.
Just because.
I'm not mad about the Steelers not having a lot of players.
I think it's cool. These guys are coming out. They're throwing footballs around. It's cool to be recognized as one of the best players in NFL.
Okay, I'll say this, right? First of all, you brought up before we started this that I'm upset because Pittsburgh doesn't have a lot of players. They have 6 guys. Usually they have 10, so I don't really care. I'm cool with that. Here's why I think the Pro Bowl is kind of stupid, right? One, I don't think that the Pro Bowl week is stupid. Okay, like the events and the dodgeball and all the fan interaction and all the competition and stuff, like the best hands and all that fun stuff, which Juju won, by the way. I don't think that's
he's
going
to be your number one wide receiver now from now on.
Yeah, I know he is. I think it gives it's a way for people who play the most physical sport out there a week to just relax and have fun, and embrace playing football without getting CTE for life.
Yeah.
I think the game is really stupid though because nobody tries.
I can agree with you on that.
Well, yeah,
nobody tries because nobody wants to be the guy that got hurt or that hurt somebody in a Pro Bowl. Nobody. It's not like it was like 15 years ago when Sean Taylor was murdering people.
I was just about to say, I was watching a video today in class and Sean Taylor was just murdering people in the Pro Bowl.
Oh, in class, so you're not paying attention?
No, I don't pay attention in class.
When I saw your face, I knew that's what you were going to say, so I kind of figured I'd bring it up. But yeah, that was fun to watch. But even you look at all the other All-Star games in baseball, because technically the Pro Bowl is an All-Star game, right?
Baseball's the best.
The reason why I don't like the Pro Bowl is because we don't really see the best players in the Pro Bowl. Like Todd Gurley's not in the Pro Bowl. He got selected to the Pro Bowl, but he's playing in the Super Bowl. I think the timing of the Pro Bowl is really stupid. If this was something that we could have in the middle of the season,
no one will play in that though.
No, I'm saying it'll never be there, but because that's just how football is. You can't. No one's going to want to do that, but that's why I think the Pro Bowl is stupid. Nobody gives a shit. You're not playing for anything. Like in baseball, up until 3 years ago or 4 years ago, whoever won the World Series got home field advantage or whoever won the All-Star game got home field advantage in the World Series. So people actually tried. Managers played to win the game because their team had a chance at competing. Mm-hmm. The NBA All-Star Weekend, in my opinion, is the best one by far. You have the three-point contest. You have the slam dunk contest. Even the All-Star game is fun. Even though there's zero defense played, you have the best players in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I like basketballs.
Going one-on-one. You got LeBron going up against KD. You got Steph going up against whoever, Kyrie Irving. We're going to see James Harden probably drop 60. Like that. That's fun. That's fun to watch. In the Pro Bowl, I see a bunch of guys who don't give a shit. Getting touched and then someone blowing it dead because nobody wants to get destroyed and concussed and get hurt in the Pro Bowl because people have gotten hurt in the Pro Bowl before and then no one gives a shit anymore. If the Pro Bowl was like what it was when Sean Taylor was literally headhunting and putting people on a mixtape, then yeah, that'd be fun as hell to watch because I don't know, dude. There's something about me that just loves seeing somebody get lit up whenever I'm watching football. So that's why I don't think the actual Pro Bowl week is stupid. I think it's cool. It's good for the game. You get to go down there, interact, see your favorite players and stuff like that. But the game is stupid, and I haven't watched it in 5 years.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I haven't watched them 3 years. I just wanted to talk about it. I think it's cool to talk about. They get swagged out with Oakley and all that stuff. But no, yeah, I agree. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for our football talk this week. Mahoney, you'll take it away with the baseball.
Yeah, I'll take it away with the baseball for sure. So I decided to go back to our first episode. And I just want to give a shout out to the people that listened to that first episode and are still here because it's a rough one. You guys are homies for sure. Thank you for sticking around. Okay, so I went back to the first episode, listened to all of our picks, and I tallied them up. And it's not looking good for Mahoney. I'm sitting here with a goose egg, 0. 0.
Just to clarify, this is the free agents that we picked. If some of you are new to this podcast, we all kind of picked out where our free agents going to go for the MLB, and we have them now. We're now.
Yeah. So, Deegs, you got 4 right, and PT got 5 right.
Oh, me and PT are close.
So
no, he's gonna win because I picked Harper to go to the Dodgers, and they just signed Pollock, so he's gonna win.
Yeah, so, all right. So, I'm going to go after some of these because some of these are actually pretty good that you guys picked out. Both of you got Evaldi going back to the Red Sox. PT got Donaldson going to the Braves. How he got that one?
He pulled that out of nowhere.
out of his ass. I don't know how you got this one right, Deegs, but you got Ottavino going to the Yankees.
Yeah, I did.
PT got Joe Kelly going to the Angels.
He didn't go to the Angels. He went to the Dodgers.
Oh shit.
No!
So you guys are tied now. I saw Los Angeles. That's probably why I tweaked.
Oh my God. Let's go. We're tied.
Then PT got Murphy going to the Rockies.
Oh wait, shout out to Joey Atkins.
Yeah, shout out Joey.
Yeah, for saying that Murphy would never go there.
And then Deegs, you got Brian Dozier going to the Nationals.
Yep.
And then you both got Kurt Suzuki going to the Nationals.
Kurt.
Let's go.
Hey,
for the record, I'm almost positive PT saw my list and copied the Kurt Suzuki one, but.
All right, so we're going to keep sticking with that. I think I'm looking pretty good to get the first 2 right with Harper going to Philly and Machado going to the South Side, but we'll see. So we're going to go into the free agency, and I just want to give a quick little clap to the Atlanta Braves for bringing back Markakis. That was a great signing.
You know how I feel about Markakis.
Yeah,
I don't have to talk about him. Everybody knows.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Nick Markakis, 2028 Hall of Famer. Book it. Go ahead. Next person.
So then next, I just want to put this out there because I know a lot of Sox fans listen. Danny Farquhar, he had a brain hemorrhage last year. And now he's pitching again. And he's going to be pitching for the New York Yankees. So cool little story going on there. Awesome thing. Awesome. Yeah, just awesome to hear.
Shout out Danny Farquhar.
Yeah, if you're listening, listen up.
Listen up.
Then next, this is an interesting one. Sonny Gray getting traded to the Reds and signing an extension. What do you think, Deegs?
Yeah, dude. I mean, so here's how I feel about Sonny Gray. If he ever plays in a big market again, he's gonna suck. So
he's not playing the little markets, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, but of every little market he could have possibly picked to play in, because honestly, he probably did pick to play here because the Reds wouldn't have traded for him if they didn't know that he would have agreed to an extension. This is the worst one he could have picked in.
Yeah, I agree.
As a pitcher,
he should have went to Milwaukee.
He should have gone to anywhere but here. Why the fuck would you want to play in that ballpark as a pitcher? He's going to give up. He's going to get tittied.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. The extension, if he pans out. And
he got it. He got, what, $11 million a year?
Yeah, if he pans out to what he's used to be, it'll be worth it. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the Reds are doing. They got Alex Woods. They got Tanner Roark. They traded away a quality big league prospect in Shed Long, who now is with the Mariners. I don't even want to know what the hell you guys are doing right now.
I spilled Mountain Dew on my laptop.
But I don't know. We'll see how this pans out. It's the Reds, so he'll probably just get destroyed every single time he pitches.
You know what? I'm going to shout out the Reds right here. They're doing a lot of right things this offseason.
Yeah.
They're making their team better. You can't deny that.
They're still the fourth worst team in that division.
Yeah, true. All right, so enough about Sonny Gray. Let's get to AJ Pollock signing with the Dodgers, 5 years. I mean, you're right. It takes him out of Harper. I think it's a good deal for the Dodgers.
Yeah, AJ Pollock. You look at a guy, 30 years old. 30-year-old AJ Pollock. I don't know. It's 4 years, $50 million guaranteed with a club option. If he is what he was in Arizona and stays healthy, the Dodgers are going to be scary, dude. They're going to be real scary. And this AJ Pollock signing does transition us into our next topic of JT Realmuto, because it gives the Dodgers flexibility to trade away one of their outfielders like Alex Verdugo or your favorite player for some reason, Jock Peterson.
We'll get to Jock in a little bit.
To the Marlins to acquire JT Realmuto, who reports have said they are pursuing heavily. So what do you think about that? The Dodgers' chances of getting Realmuto, what they can give up, and
all right. So this is what's going to happen right here. I'm calling it early. Jock Peterson's going to the White Sox. We'll just get into Jock. Jock Peterson, I want him to come to the White Sox.
He's not.
But let me get to it. So I think that Jock Peterson is going to go to the Marlins because the Marlins offered Markakis, and they offered him actually more money than the Braves did because they're looking for a lefty outfielder.
Yep.
So Jock Peterson will be perfect. Vertigo will be perfect. So there's two guys right there. Two major league ready guys, by the way, for the Marlins. They give up Realmuto. It helps the Dodgers. It helps the Marlins. It just makes sense to me. And I see the Dodgers throwing in another piece. I don't know who, but it just makes sense. I think it's going to happen. I think Realmuto is going to go to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are going to be looking really nice, especially against the Padres.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
They could field like a below-average major league team and still look good against the Padres. But, yeah, I mean, Peterson, if they trade for Realmuto, he's probably going to be there because, like you said, they want a left-handed bat. There isn't really left-handed bats on the market. You look at Andrew Jones; he's right-handed. He's pretty much the only good outfielder left on the market. So, Jock Peterson probably going to Miami. Unfortunately for him, they're terrible. So, in terms of prospects that the Dodgers would get, or that the Marlins would get, I don't know if they trade Verdugo too, but they have a plethora of catching prospects like Keithbert Ruiz, who is very highly touted in their farm system. Maybe, I don't know, they were really reluctant to give up Gavin Lux for Machado, but maybe if it's Peterson and Gavin Lux for a guy who plays a position that they really, really need, because right now their catching depth is Austin Barnes and Russell Martin, then I think you probably pull the trigger. They have some pitching prospects to give up. The Dodgers have a really good, talented farm system, but I think the headliner in that trade and the most big league ready player that the Marlins would value
Peterson, baby,
is probably Jock fucking Peterson, who lost his parrot, and yeah.
Yeah. So I know a couple Brewers fans listen. Sad to hear about your ballpark going to American Family Insurance.
Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed, dude.
Why are you pissed?
Miller Park is, first of all,
great name.
If you've ever been there, it's
fantastic.
Wonderful. It's a beautiful park. Probably one of the better parks.
It's my favorite park to go to, but then again, I only go to 3. So.
Yeah, no, it's probably the best park in the Midwest. That's probably not a big stretch to say. It's a really nice park to have that retractable roof. They do a bunch of cool stuff there. Some good giveaways. They got the guy that goes on the slide when someone hits a home run. It's a really nice, good, taken care of field. And the name is fantastic, right?
Oh, yeah,
I used to – Miller Park, fun fact, Deegs lifeline story. My first ever baseball game was a Giants-Brewers game in like 2009. And Miller Park, I've been to more baseball games at Miller Park than I've been to at any other stadium, more than Wrigley and the whatever the fuck the White Sox stadium's name is.
Comiskey, you fuckstick.
Yeah, you
but no, it's actually guaranteed right field, you fucking idiot.
All right, keep talking.
But yeah, dude. American Family Insurance. No one's gonna be like, "Hey man, let's go watch
Family insurance.
No one's gonna be like, "Hey man, let's go watch a baseball game in American Family Insurance." Like, fuck that. Fuck that.
No,
it's
People don't. Yeah.
Hold
people-
up.
Yeah.
This thing is dope. Imagine saying, "Hey, let's go to American
Family
Family
Insurance Park.
it's dope. It's dope for two fans whose name is Guaranteed Rate Field. Okay, Miller Park is so much better. Such a better.
Oh, it
Okay,
is,
okay,
yeah.
man. Miller Park's cool, but like,
No, American- it's fucking-
Family
it's fucking-
Insurance Park.
All
It's
right,
so fucking stupid.
All right, so yeah,
You
it's
guys
stupid. It's
only
another
want
bad
that.
name.
Shout
You
out to the
only want
Brewers.
that name
Contact
so
me if you want me to do that
so
again.
you can sing your little stupid fucking jingle.
Yeah.
Yep.
But-
All right, so we're gonna go stick with the NL Central here. We're gonna go to the Flubbies. Signed Brad Brock today. Sound the alarms. The Cubs actually fucking did something.
Yeah, for real.
Honestly, I think this is a good signing for them. Brad Brock had a pretty good season last year. Had a really good season a couple years ago. See if he keeps that track going. Cubs don't have a bullpen right now, so Brad Brock will definitely help out with that.
If he's healthy, it's a great signing.
Yeah,
if
the
he's
Cubs
healthy,
just
it's a
need
great
to do
signing.
more. They need to stop saving money for Harper and do what the Brad Brock signing and just get more pitching.
They could have easily gotten guys like Britton, Ottavino,
Mm-hmm.
Miller, acquire guys. They have expendable pieces. The Cubs cannot be planning for their future right now. They have to trade guys that have value. For example, they have to trade Ian Happ right now has
Kyle
value.
Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber, even though he sucks, has value. David Bodie's never going to have a higher value, so you need to trade him now.
Yep.
And they just haven't. The season starts in less than 2 months. Opening day is like March 26th. It's 2
Like
months away.
65 games or 65 days.
Whatever, it's something like that. I know the Brewers' opening day is March 26th, but the Cubs need to do something because the way that their bullpen is right now, Brandon Moreau is going to be out for the first month probably, if not a little bit more. Even
Brandon
when
Morrow,
he's
by
back.
the way, not Moreau.
Whatever, Morrow. I don't give a fuck. He sucks.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding. He's actually really good.
Yeah.
When he's healthy, you just can't stay healthy ever.
Yeah, true.
But you can't really go into the playoffs with a bullpen of Pedro Strop, Brad Brock, Carl Edwards Jr., Mike Montgomery, Brian fucking Dunsing, and Brandon Morrow. So
Yeah.
they need to do something. If I'm them, I'm calling every team that has expendable relievers, and I'm making a move. And if not, they're just going to be the same team that they were last year. Maybe they'll make it past the wild card this time. I don't know. Fuck the Cubs. So I hope they don't do shit, but we'll see.
Yeah, all right. So let's get into something a little bit more important here. Us at Bright Lights Podcast, because I know these people are listening,
Yep.
would like to congratulate Mariano Rivera, Roy Halladay, Edgar Martinez, and the Musina, on getting into the Hall of Fame.
Who, by the way, you did not have Roy Halladay on your ballot, and I don't think you had Messina either.
I did not have, and I had Rivera and Martinez, but all right.
Yeah.
So I want to get
I
into a
had
couple
all four
things.
of them, so go fuck yourself.
All right,
Anyway,
cool.
keep going.
So should we start with the positive or the bad? Let's start with the positive.
Start with the positive.
Positive, yeah.
Oh, end with a positive. You want to end on a good note, man.
No, I want to. I'm screaming at the camera.
No, I'm pissed off about this too. So
Yeah. Okay. So, well, okay. Fuck it. I'll be positive. So Mariano Rivera, first ever unanimous.
yeah.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy. Seriously, he is the nicest guy. I'm very happy for him. If you guys watched the video of his reaction, he's very happy. He's very
Yeah.
humble about it. He's a great guy.
He's fantastic, and on top of being a fantastic guy, come on, Mariano Rivera. He's the greatest relief pitcher of all time. I'm a big Trevor Hoffman fan. I idolized Trevor
Obviously,
Hoffman growing
yeah.
up. I idolized Trevor Hoffman growing up, and even I know that he doesn't come close to Mariano. He's definitely right up there. He's probably 2 or 3 all time in terms of relief pitcher, but no one comes close to Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera is the greatest greatest relief pitcher of all time, and honestly, if it's not Kimbrel, he might hold that save record for a really, really long time.
Well, I was looking at it. Kimbrel's on pace to break it.
Kimbrel's right there. Kimbrel's right there. But if something happens to Kimbrel or he declines more, because Mariano was never a guy that threw hard, right? Mariano was a technique guy. He's cutter and he located his pitches really well. Kimbrel is a guy that he throws hard as shit and he has one good off speed pitch.
Yeah.
So Usually, guys that throw hard, they blow up eventually. They don't last as long because their arms just give up. It's not natural for us humans to throw the ball 100 miles an hour. But I don't know, dude. Mariano is the greatest relief pitcher of all time. The award should be named after him. It probably will be if it isn't already. I don't know. I'm an idiot. But
No,
I agree. Could not have happened to a better guy. However, I do want to talk about that unanimous stuff later on once we get to the
we'll go person by person, and we'll talk about each thing because I think each person has a little bit of stuff we want to talk about. So Rivera getting the unanimous again, like I said, couldn't have happened to a better guy. But
should not have been him. He should not have been the first one.
He should be unanimous, but he should not have been the first one.
Right.
If Rivera was going to be unanimous, I think the first person should have been Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah. Can you explain to me whoever didn't? He got what did he get? Like 99% of the vote.
I think they tallied it, and I think they said like 5 or 6 people didn't vote for him.
Whoever didn't vote for him should be fired from whatever institution they work at, and have their voting rights removed completely.
Yeah.
Because come on, how the fuck do you not vote for Ken Griffey Jr.? Not even him. Okay, it should start. First of all, the first unanimous Hall of Famer of all time should have been Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
I know that's a really long time ago,
but he should have been.
He should have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer of all time. Then you keep going down the line, right? Willie Mays probably should have, or not Willie Mays. I mean, Willie Mays should have been pretty close to unanimous. Hank Aaron probably didn't get it because he played in a time where racism was very prevalent during Hank Aaron's time when he was up for the vote. So he should have been unanimous, correct? But he was never going to get it. But you look at guys like Nolan Ryan, really Nolan Ryan, but the guy has like 15,000 strikeouts, throws 7 no-hitters, and is the greatest pitcher of all time, probably, and isn't a unanimous Hall of Famer. Are you fucking kidding me? Ken Griffey Jr., are you serious? Ken Griffey Jr., I don't give a shit if he never won a World Series. The guy hit like 665 home runs, and he's not a unanimous Hall of Famer. I don't know, dude. Tom Seaver too. Like, there's so many guys that should have been. I was looking at the voting percentage, and I think it was like, this is just a quick Padres fan coming out in me. Mariano unanimous. There's like 4 guys, and then there's Tony Gwynn, baby, with 93% of the vote. Whoever did vote for Tony Gwynn's a fucking moron. But
yeah,
I understand. I agree. Mariano should be unanimous, right? Because he's the greatest to ever do it at his position. Is he going to be the only unanimous Hall of Famer ever?
No,
probably not. Now that someone's actually done it,
yeah, it'll become not a regular thing, but it'll happen a couple times in the next decade.
I think the next guy to do it, maybe Jeter.
No way, Jeter. Zero chance.
No, you're right. Because there will
some
be
people
someone that
hate Jeter.
There'll be someone that looks at his analytics and be like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't know anybody who could be the next unit. Maybe Mike Trout. Mike Trout, when he retires and he gets on the ballot, should be unanimous. I was gonna say Pujols. He'll probably get pretty close.
Yeah.
If not, get it. But yeah, dude. I mean.
Ichiro.
Some people don't take into account what he did in Japan, though.
Yeah, true.
And that is why he's the all-time hit leader.
Yeah, so I think that's good with Rivera. I mean, again, congratulations to him. The next person, great story.
Great guy, too.
Yeah, great guy. Roy Halladay passed away last year. Kind of controversial thing going on here. I don't know if you heard about this, but he's not going in with the team.
I wouldn't either, right? And here's why. It's not okay. Obviously, his wife probably been together with him for a really long time, right? But nobody knows what team Roy Halladay would have wanted to go in with.
Yes,
other
they
than
do.
Him.
They actually found a video of him in an interview in one of his last seasons saying he wanted to go in as a Blue Jay. Came out this morning.
Okay, I agree, but he's also not alive to make that decision.
That is true.
Okay. Now, I thought when you said controversial, you were going to bring up the fact that I don't know if this is true or not, but is Roy Halladay really a first ballot Hall of Famer? And
we brought this up when we were doing the ballot. I brought this up.
Did he get in because of what happened? I'm not. He's a Hall of Famer. I agree 100%. But
I think he's a perfect second ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, look at every single pitcher that's ever been a first ballot Hall of Famer. You talk about guys like Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, Tom Glavine, Tom Seaver, John Schmaltz, Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
Greg Maddux. Roy Halladay is not those guys.
No.
He's not in that company. He's a great pitcher.
Great
He's
guy,
a fantastic
everything,
pitcher. He has the complete games record for this the last 10 years. I think the guy threw like 63 complete games, which is absurd. And it probably won't happen again for a while with how pitchers are used nowadays. But I had him on my ballot, but is he really a first ballot Hall of Famer? I don't know. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But, I mean, I love Doc. I loved him. I used to pitch like him with the whole cock your arms back, come stop and go. His kid is with the Blue Jays. Now he pitches just like him. So I wish the best for his kid.
That'd be an interesting story if maybe one day he walks into Cooperstown.
Oh, that would be awesome, dude. I would love that. I loved Roy Halladay.
Everybody did, yeah.
I was super sad when he died. I mean, the guy threw a no-hitter in a perfect game in the playoffs. But I don't know, dude. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, 110%.
I agree with you. Really good second ballot guy.
Let's go. Finally, Edgar Martinez is in the Hall of Fame, which takes a path for so many people.
Correct.
Especially all the DHs. Honestly, I think that now because of Harold Baines and Edgar Martinez, Paul Konerko will one day see Cooperstown. Side note, let's not get to Paul Konerko. Let's stick with Edgar. Finally, dude. I mean, I'm really happy for him. I mean, he definitely deserved it.
Yeah, you're talking about, again, we're talking about great guys. Edgar Martinez, fantastic guy. If you didn't see his interview today on MLB Network on how he hit, gave a lot of good insight. Fantastic guy overall. Does a lot for Latin communities. So shout out Edgar Martinez. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's about goddamn time, right? You're looking at Edgar Martinez as probably the greatest DH of all time. I know when people think of DHs, they think about guys who hit for a bunch of power, so Big Papi, Harold Baines. But, I mean, Edgar Martinez was an above 300 career hitter. He put more than 500, not 1,500, more than 500 home runs. Most people consider him to be the greatest DH of all time. I do. So, yeah, it's about damn time he gets in because I think if you're the best player at your position, you should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, that's how it works. You are the best of the best, and that's what the Hall of Fame is for. Now, I agree. This does pave the path for a lot of people. There's no doubt in my mind now that David Ortiz will be in the Hall of Fame, as he should be, right? David Ortiz, one of the game's greatest hitters ever. Amazing guy, too. Fantastic hitter at the plate. I loved watching him play for his career.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, you talk about Paul Konerko. I don't think he gets in on the ballot. I think he's a today's era guy.
I don't care as long as he's in.
In my opinion, I think he's a today's era guy. But, yeah, I think now with Edgar and once David Ortiz gets in and once other DHs, notable DHs get in, you could see Paul Konerko in the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah. So, now going on to your guy, Moose. I'm still going to stick to my guns. I still don't believe that this was the year for him. I'm very happy that he got in. I believe that he is a Hall of Famer. But I feel as if next year would have been his year. But then again, I'm glad he got in this year.
Yeah, I mean, a guy that often goes underlooked. We talk about those Yankee teams that are really good. Mike Mussina, fantastic pitcher, in my opinion. Now, that might be because I'm a homer guy, I'm a pitcher. But it just seemed like, and Draftneck Mark said this in one of his YouTube videos, that every time he took the mound, like you just felt like you were going to win. Guy's a gamer, below 2.6 ERA. I think he won like 262 games in his career. It was a really good overall pitcher. Should he have gotten in this time? I don't know. But he got in. He deserves it. He should be a Hall of Famer. And, yeah, now I want to get into some guys that didn't fucking get in the Hall of Fame.
I got some notes. You want me to go into my notes?
That really pissed me off. And some guys that got way less votes than they fucking should have. So, yeah, dude, go ahead.
Let's go. Fred McGriff. What the fuck?
Yeah,
why?
Fuck that.
39%? Are you kidding me?
Fuck that, dude.
He should. Okay, I understand if he didn't get in, but he should have been hovering around 70.
He's a Hall of Famer. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Fred McGriff's a fucking Hall of Famer. Guy was amazing. He should have gotten way more than 39% votes. If he doesn't get in the today's era, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what anybody says. You're a fucking idiot if you don't think Fred McGriff's a Hall of Famer.
Agreed. Next note, Andrew Jones, 7%.
Yeah, Andrew Jones. You're talking about a guy, fantastic, probably right up there in the conversation of the greatest defensive outfielders of all time. I think he won like
10-time
12.
Gold Glove.
Yeah, 10-time Gold Glover. What did he hit? Like 500 plus home runs.
450.
So pretty close, 500 plus home runs with plus defense. Staple of a very good Atlanta Braves team. Multiple All-Star appearances. A pretty good career hitter. I mean, that guy. I completely agree with you. He should not come close to 70 for a pretty good while. He shouldn't get in over guys like Fred McGriff and stuff like that. But 7%,
yeah,
7% for a guy. What percentage? I'm curious. I don't know if you have this number off the top of your head, but what percent of the ballot did Omar Vizquel get? Because Omar Vizquel and Andrew Jones, you're looking at two guys who were elite at their position defensively. And say what you want, man. Defense is the most important part of baseball, right? You could score a shit ton of runs, but if you make a shit ton of errors, you're not going to win games. Defense wins
Omar
championships.
Vizquel went up to 43%, so he's climbing up.
That's good. But Andrew Jones, 7% is a fucking crime.
Do you know what else is a fucking crime? Gary Sheffield getting 13%.
Yeah, I mean, a guy who, in my opinion, had a better career than Fred McGriff. Two really good players. Gary Sheffield, super underrated guy. He played for a lot of teams, I understand, but a lot of power, good overall hitter, good defensive player, and he should be not in the Hall of Fame, but he should be getting more than 13% of the vote. Are you fucking kidding me? The guy that I want to highlight before we get into the really two big ones, who I think we all know who the two big ones are.
I've got a couple more, but you say who you want to say.
Is Larry Walker. Larry Walker. The only other player that is in the that is in the 300 plus home run, 300 steal club, I'm pretty sure is Barry Bonds. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But you have a guy who hit 300 plus home runs, stole 300 plus bases, has a career batting average of 311. 311. Think about that. 311. Won an MVP, won a lot of Gold Gloves. Say for what you wish for. He played at Coors Field. I don't give a shit. Okay, he put up good offensive numbers. He won a ton of Gold Gloves too. A staple in that Colorado Rockies lineup, and he's a Hall of Famer, dude. He did go up 20%. He did go up 20% from last year, but 54% I think for Larry Walker is still too little.
Too low. Yep.
Hopefully he jumps up. I don't know how many years he has left on the ballot.
He's got next year's his last year.
Oh, he's not getting in then, dude. He's not getting in the Hall of Fame. He's not getting in, which sucks because he's a Hall of Famer. Hopefully the today's era, which sucks because he shouldn't be a today's era guy. But hopefully they get him in when his time comes. Right?
Yeah, I agree. So I want to highlight three more guys. Billy Wagner only getting 16%.
Again, Billy Wagner. You're talking about greatest closers of all time, Mariano, Trevor Hoffman, wherever you want to put Kimbrel, the guy Lee Smith, and Billy Wagner, right up there. Billy Wagner, the guy was like 5'7", 5'8". I know our buddy Joey Atkins loves Billy Wagner, wants to be just like him because the guy it was the early 2000s era of what Josh Hader is right now.
Yep.
A guy who threw super hard, was unhittable, I think he has the highest K per 9 ever.
Yeah, he does.
That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd. So should be a Hall of Famer. Hopefully he gets in.
Yeah. So these next two guys, they're off the ballot now, and I myself am very upset about one of them. One of them I kind of understand. So the one that I understand is Lance Berkman. They did a little thing on MLB Network about Lance Berkman. And I don't think he got the credit that he deserves.
No, super underrated guy.
He had some great years in Houston.
He
and
also
Texas.
played pivotal roles in a lot of postseason runs for the Cardinals and the Astros. You look at Lance Berkman's career numbers, right? I don't think they're Hall of Fame worthy, but a 293 career batting
He
average.
deserves more than 5 votes.
366 home runs, 1,200 plus RBIs, a 400 plus on base percentage guy, .943 OPS. I mean, the guy led the league in doubles a few times. He had multiple 40 plus home run seasons. He finished in the MVP voting top 5 4 times, top 7 6 times. I don't know. He deserved more votes. He's an underrated guy. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but is a guy that really flies under the radar when you look at it.
Yeah. So actually, I've got 2 more.
Okay.
All right. Kevin Youkilis got 0 votes. I think that's a shame. I think he should still be on the ballot.
Baby.
Now this last one gets me really mad because I feel like he should have been a Hall of Famer somewhere down the line. Juan Pierre. And I think he should be in the Hall of Fame solely on what he did on the base pass.
Yeah, you were talking about this the other day.
I'm very, very, oh my God, I'm fucking heated about this.
Are you going to die of, like,
I don't know. Just ignore
cancer?
that. But the fact that Juan Pierre stole over, I think it was 600 bases,
614.
batted like 280.
295.
How did he get 0 votes? Like, that makes no sense.
Okay, I will say this. Okay, I agree with you. He should have gotten more than 0 votes. This ballot was a pretty good one in my opinion. You had a lot of outfielders on there. Obviously, Juan Pierre is an outfielder who deserved votes over him, in my opinion. But you look at his numbers, right? 295 batting average, 600 stolen bases is incredible, absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah,
that is right up there. That is elite level speed, and it's not even speed because if you ever played baseball, and PT, you could probably attest to this because you're pretty fast. You can be super fast and not be a good base runner. Like you have to know how to time the pitcher off his movement. You have to know when the guy is going to go home and when he's not going to go home, and it's pretty much a timing thing when you're stealing bags. It's not always about how fast you are. Now, obviously, does being fast help you swipe bags? Yeah, but Barry Bonds did not have elite speed for the majority of his career, and he finished with 500 plus stolen bases. So 600 plus stolen bags, really impressive. I think what really knocks him down, one, is he never made an All-Star game.
Wow, that shocks me.
That is really detrimental for someone, in my opinion, because say for what you wish for. And these guys, when the guys that we watch play, like the Mike Trouts of the world, the Bryce Harpers of the world, or Arenado, when those guys are up for Hall of Fame induction, I don't think All-Star appearances will count as much because the game doesn't mean anything anymore, right? Like they don't play it for anything. But this generation of guys like Juan Pierre, like Barry Bonds, Clemens, all the guys on this ballot, when they played in All-Star games, it was like, holy shit, we're playing for a chance to who's going to get to host the World Series. So for him in this era to not have any All-Star appearances, that's detrimental. Not a lot of accolades. Doesn't have a Gold Glove under his belt either.
Yeah, it does hurt.
Only a 343 career OBP. Not a big power guy either. His OPS is only 704. So I think he's a really good player. He's probably a Hall of really good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't see him being a Hall of Famer. But he should have got at least some votes. Some votes should have gone his way. The same thing with Kevin Youkilis. The fact that Kevin Youkilis, you're talking about a guy who plays a position that isn't as coveted, one of the most coveted catchers of all time, in my opinion, an elite catcher, offensively and defensively, a guy who's caught, I think, more perfect games or no-hitters than anybody ever.
Yeah.
Should be a Hall of Famer. But I think it's time we finally move on to the big two that we've been wanting to talk about.
Yeah.
So Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens.
Yep.
Right? You're talking about Barry Bonds, who a lot of people believe to be the greatest player of all time.
I definitely agree, 110%. He's at least the best. He is the best, yeah, overall everything.
I think he's the best player of all time, right? 7 MVPs, 8 Gold Gloves, 12 Silver Sluggers, 2-time batting champ as a power hitter. As a power hitter, he's a 2-time batting champ.
Yeah.
14-time All-Star, obviously the all-time leader in home runs. Basically 2,000 RBIs. He has 1,996. Stole 500 bags. An OBP of 444. It's insane. That pretty much almost means that 45% of the time he got on base.
Yeah.
That's absurd. That's absurd in a game where we're set up to fail. Baseball players are meant to fail. Hitters at least.
If
They
you
are
get on
meant to fail.
30% of the time, you're a Hall of Famer.
Exactly. If you get on 35% of the time, you have Hall of Fame numbers, in my opinion. He almost hit 300 as a power hitter, mind you. He's the greatest baseball player of all time. Then you have Roger Clemens, right? Roger Clemens probably not the greatest pitcher of all time because that's probably Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, someone up there.
He's probably got the best accolades, though.
He does have the best accolades. Thank you for bringing that up. And accolades, as we know, they mean a lot. You have a guy who won an MVP as a pitcher. You don't really see that a lot. Pitchers don't typically win MVPs because they only pitch every 5 days. 7-time Cy Young Award winner. No one's ever done that. Won the Triple Crown twice. No one's ever done that. 2-time World Series champ. 11-time All-Star. Won the ERA title 7 times. No one's ever done that. And again, he won an All-Star game at MVP. Take that for what you wish for. Here's the big thing, right? I'm willing to bet you at a very large amount of money that every single pitcher in Major League Baseball history that has won more than 300 games is in the Hall of Fame. I'm willing to bet you that is the standard for pitchers, right? If you win 300 games, you're in. You're in the Hall of Fame.
I think nowadays it's 250.
You are a lock to be a Hall of Famer if you win more than 300 games. A lock. Solidified. Roger Clemens, 354 wins.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. 354 wins. 4,000 for most pitchers, right? And this is a very impressive number. If you strike out more than 3,000 guys, you're a Hall of Famer. Yeah. Just like hits. If you get more than 3,000 hits, you're a Hall of Famer. This guy struck out 4,672 guys.
Yeah, I know. And he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's a shame. It's
a shame. And I understand, right, he did steroids. He took steroids. We know that. And it's the same thing with Barry Bonds. But I'm going to tell you right now, especially about Barry Bonds. If Barry Lamar Bonds never took steroids, he would still be the greatest baseball player of all time.
Yes.
He is a guy who did not need steroids. No. We don't know when he started taking steroids, but he was winning MVPs and hitting 320 and hitting 50 home runs without them. And the same thing with Clemens. Clemens was nasty, devastating pitcher. Nobody wanted to face Roger Clemens. And we don't know when he started taking steroids. And I know Clemens especially, he lied about it. But do you understand how many baseball players are in the Hall of Fame right now from that era that took steroids and nobody knows about it?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody knows about it. Yeah. I would be shocked if a lot of guys from that era took steroids or didn't take steroids because most of them took steroids, right? So I don't think it's fair to hold back the best 2 players ever.
Of that generation, especially.
Of that generation for taking a drug that everybody took.
Exactly.
Because I'll give you a perfect example. 2 perfect examples. Alex Rodriguez is going to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. He should be a Hall of Famer, right? He should be a Hall of Famer. He has the numbers to back it up. He took steroids. He took steroids. David Ortiz is going to be a Hall of Famer. Also took steroids. Manny Ramirez, if he gets in one day, and he should. He has the numbers to get in.
He should, but he's not going to. He keeps going down.
He's not going to, but he should. He should be a Hall of Famer. And you have so many other guys from that era that should be Hall of Famers that are not going to be Hall of Famers. Or that are already Hall of Famers, from guys that played in that steroid era that who knows if they took steroids. We don't know. Everybody took steroids. There was an estimation by a lot of players that played in that era that almost 90% of the league took steroids. And you're telling me if 90% of the league juiced up, that guys that didn't take steroids were able to dominate 90% of the league that was juicing? No.
Yeah.
It's not happening. And there's guys, I'll give you a perfect example. Greg Maddux didn't need him. If he took him, he didn't need him. Right? Because Greg Maddux was never a guy that was here to overpower you. Right? He was a guy that was going to locate, keep the ball down, keep the ball away from you because he didn't have overpowering stuff. Randy Johnson, I don't think he took steroids because he was maybe $180 soaking wet. But if he didn't need him. Guy threw absolute gas. He was incredible. He did not need steroids. So I don't know how you can induct guys, and this is going to be really controversial when David Ortiz and A-Rod get in as potential first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't know how you can induct those guys and leave out the greatest baseball player of all time and the most decorated pitcher of all time.
Oh, yeah,
and they keep going. They're barely going up, if they're even going up. It's fucking pathetic. It's fucking pathetic, dude.
It is.
And I understand.
So many things wrong there.
I understand that the media votes for the Hall of Fame. right? Everyone knows that. It's a bunch of journalists. And I understand that a lot of people, in Barry Bonds' case in particular, don't like him because he was an asshole pretty much to the media in his playing days. But if you're going to be that much of a pussy to not vote for the greatest baseball player of all time just because he was mean to you,
then you're a pussy. You are.
You're a pussy, and you should not have a vote. Okay, you should not be. You should not keep. In my opinion, Cooperstown isn't Cooperstown if the GOAT of baseball isn't in there.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
That's what I have to say. It's fucking stupid, but it's whatever.
Yeah, they need to change a lot of things, but we'll see how it does. I mean, I think that pretty much does it for today.
Yeah, I mean, good podcast, good football talk, some heated baseball stuff there at the end. One thing we talked about before the show started, if there's anything you guys want to hear, and if you're listening, if you're one of the 18, the Golden 18 that's gotten this far, and there's some new segment ideas, we have come up with some segments. We have some stuff written down, some stuff in the archives of Bright Lights Podcast that we're thinking about bringing in for some episodes. But if there's some stuff that you want to hear, if you want to hear us cover other sports, we all know some basic knowledge, and some of us a little bit more basic knowledge about basketball. Mahoney's a really big hockey guy, so if you guys want to hear that kind of stuff, or whatever you want to hear, some new segment ideas, feel free to message us on Twitter. I think we had a problem where our DMs weren't open, but now they are.
Now they are, yep. Mahoney fixed it.
Yeah, he's a genius. Love that guy. You can feel free to send us whatever you want. Send us feedback. Give us whatever. Give us your thoughts on how this is going, because we're only going to get better if we get criticized and if we hear from the people that are actually listening to us. Another thing, make sure you go and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. I probably should say this towards the beginning of the show.
Or if not a 5-star rating, be honest. Give us a rating. Any rating helps.
Give us a rating. Any rating will help us. It's going to help us get some more exposure, and we really need that. We really want that. We want more people to hear what we have to say about sports, because even though sometimes we're fucking morons, we're funny. And I think that people want to hear three idiots talk about sports. So
yeah, and shout out Pulaski, who told me today that he is one of our 18.
Yeah, shout out Pulaski, man. Gotta love the guy. Follow us on Twitter, Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, YouTube, all the fun things. But that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks as always for listening. We got an in-person podcast on Saturday. I will be back in person on Saturday to talk with these goons about some sports. We got a really good debate coming on Saturday. There might be some yelling. There might be some screaming. There might be some friendship ending on Saturday.
You never know.
So thanks for listening, as always, and have a good one.
All right, see you guys.
Good night.
Perfect.